Welcome back, everybody. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, welcome back, everybody. It's good to see people. It's good to see people, even if y'all ain't in here yet. I know it's a little bit of an odd time. We normally like to do videos later in the day, but it is what it is. Anyway, my name is None Your Business, the OnlyFans insurance agent. That's actually what I do, and today we are going to be talking about Yerbas. The Yerbas coin has come out with an update a couple days ago. If you tried to tune in yesterday and was under the slew of problems that we had, you know it was rough. So we're going to re-go over that again today. So a couple of things before we get to the actual update and how to do it. The Yerbas website, yerbas.org, has gone under some changes. Right? New and pretty, and if you looked at the splash screen for our page, you'll have noticed that there are new project logo assets. You'll be seeing a lot more of those pop up depending on which way people go with it. The guy that did it, awesome guy. Go to the Discord, check out his work. I think he also promotes his Instagram there too. I don't know. I'm kind of a loud jackass on the Discord, I'm not gonna lie, and I bury links all the time, not intentionally. Nice guy, did great work. I'm using some of them till I find the one I like or you like, or whichever gets the most views. But so far I've liked all of his logos, so that's definitely has changed. As you can see here, you can get the wallet by Yerbas, which kind of tells you which exchanges which it's hosted on, which right now the best one in my opinion is the Bitorium exchange, but people will have different opinions on that. Right, like I know that a lot of people like this one. I've had good or bad experiences with it depending on which way you go, but I've never had a bad experience over here. Choose the one that best relates for you. Right now these are the only two that I'm aware of, and obviously that the Yerbas people are aware of, although you do have it on PancakeSwap as well as Yerbas, which is the Yerbas wrapped on the BSC chain, which is a fun little project too. Go ahead and give them a check out. And if you don't actually, so the way to get there is you can either type rap.yerbas.org, or if you find this little Yerbas thing right here, you're good to go. This also show you how to mine Yerbas. Welcome to Yerbas. And here we get to the interesting part of the day. Assets, virtual goods, NFTs. They are coming. Before we continue on, at block 229,420, this new wallet, this new 3.1.1.5 update, Salata Furca, I believe is how you say it. I probably botched it. Salad Fork. Nice name, by the way. Yeah. Assets, your own security tokens with minutes. IPv6 support is coming with your Smartnodes. So those outside the US where IPv6 is a little bit of a better value proposition, that's coming. I think we're one of the first Smartnode, Masternode concepts to really utilize it. I may not be right on that, but regardless, that is a huge feature, primarily for those of you outside the U.S. That is huge. Inside the U.S. doesn't really affect us too much because, for the most part, IPv6 costs about the same as IPv4 because we're ass backwards like that in America, but it is what it is. This will also kind of give you a little breakdown of what makes Yerbas overall different. Right, this used to be in different places. Now it's kind of all on one. This is all on the homepage, by the way. So as you see, they've definitely done a little. Some of this is even new compared to yesterday. If you caught that botch stream, we're gonna try not to fuck up that bad. And all the links are here. And then of course, you know, we got the home by Yerbas, which will take you to there. How you get your wallets. So you can either directly download the binaries, I believe, or go to GitHub, which is where I did. You can even have your paper wallet and your vanity wallet, all fun things to do. How to get in touch with people. This is where they post a lot of stuff. I've never actually been to the wiki. I want to see that later. That might be fun for me. I didn't even know they had a Reddit, to be perfectly honest, so that's kind of cool. Codefire has his thing about how to do some things. I have my videos that have shown us how to do some things. So obviously, if you have seen this video, go check some of that other stuff out for Bitorium and Yerbas. There's a lot of cross between the two, so a lot of things work for both. But I am most active personally on Discord, as I have achieved a lifetime ban from Twitter. F you, Elon. You know what you did. Right. Getting away from that, I do want to point out one other thing. Here are the pools that we know about. Obviously, they're not all here. This one is my personal favorite, although I do also like Bitorium as well. They're good folks over there. I'm going to say this, and this is not talking mess, but please move some of the hash rate off our plant. They have like almost 70% of the hash rate. These are not bad guys, but in order to really achieve security, please move your stuff to some of these other ones. And if I remember correctly, some of these have better value proposition. I think PMP mining and Bitorium both do lower pool fees than our plant. So please consider moving your hash rate to at least balance out the network. That would be great. As I said, let's move on to the update, the 3.1.15 update. This is going to be mandatory. It's not mandatory today, right? But it is mandatory by this block. If you do not do this update by this block, your wallet will apparently no longer work. And that's because there are definitely some things coming in here that are... Oh, sorry. I've got clients texting me. There are definitely some things to be addressed in here that we'll take a look at the already installed wallet. I actually did that one first before I did the Smartnodes. There are some tips and tricks to kind of understand, and I will audibly go over them, not visually, because I don't do the Windows wallet, but there have been some issues updating there that I will touch on very briefly at the end of this video. Clearly, here's the stuff that we're going to need. Base it around your operating system. So if you're on Oracle, ARM64, if you're on an ARM32 for whatever reason, there's yours. Mac OS, there's yours. Qt, which I believe is just the visual wallet for Mac. And Ubuntu 20. Now this is the one that we're going to do today, because one of my VPSs is on a x86 architecture, not an ARM architecture. Here's the one for Windows, and we'll go over something about that a little bit later. The bootstrap and how to deal with that, which is going to be interesting, and the POW cache. Once again, Yerbas, give it a check out if you're kind of interested in that. It's a little fun thing as well. But let's move on to the actual update. So for me, let us go here. Now, for those of you that are new here, never seen this video or one of my videos, you may or may not know that I like doing these little applets. These are little applications that I wrote in Nano that just allow me to double click. Here in Oracle, they use security keys. Actually, I think all my VPSs are now set up to use keys instead of a password, so that way I don't have to sit here and type, and you may be able to figure it out. But getting around that, we have now logged in, and as we can see here, there are some updates. So the first thing that we're going to want to do before we even get to any of the Yerbas stuff is always... Wow. Apparently it's really far back, so we'll just go ahead and sudo apt update and combining two commands into one, sudo apt dist upgrade. Yes, because I don't care about the prompts. And we just let this go. Shouldn't take too long. I don't think it's a header that's being updated, so there should also really be no need to reboot the instance either today. If you are doing a header update or you see a header update, do this, or do the reboot, I should say. We're just gonna look in here. Oh wow. System D is definitely getting an upgrade, so we might actually have to, because we kind of rely on System D. That's what we mean by easy mode. If you have seen some of my videos in the past, you will know that I don't start and stop Yerbas by issuing a path to Yerbas D command to start it and a path to Yerbas-CLI stop to stop it. We have replaced that need with a System D function that actually does that for us. So actually issuing the Yerbas-CLI stop command will actually simulate a software crash. It's great for testing that. Actually, let's go ahead and look at that and explain exactly what it is I mean by that, because it looks like we're probably going to have to reboot the instance anyway, which is fine. Oh look, now it's saying we have more. Fun. But it's also rewriting part of the intrad.img, so we're going to leave that alone. What we are going to do, yes, we are going to reboot the services, okay. And we're actually going to wait for that to finish, because we're probably going to reboot or do this. But before we do that, we are going to tail Yerbas, if I can spell today, core debug.log. Okay. So if your Yerbas D is running as it should be, you will see this. It's nothing particularly new or fascinating. And if I issue the Yerbas-CLI stop the way that most of you would issue this command, it doesn't actually stop. Like you saw the shutdown command go on here, right? Interesting. And then so there's a shutdown command, and then it immediately reboots. Why? Because we use System D to do this kind of start and stop. So instead of doing that for us, if we really wanted to stop, we'd have to do sudo systemctl stop Yerbas. And this will actually stop the daemon. See, now we have the shutdown issuance here and nothing below it. This is how it's done for us. So when we're doing this on easy mode, this is actually what we are talking about. So we're actually going to sudo reboot because there were some pretty important updates that looks like that actually need to be installed. And these are new relative today, so while we go back on that, actually, let me bring that back up again. We're going to make this one a little bit smaller. Clearly, I can log into multiple smart nodes, and I do this kind of stuff all the time. Primarily when I'm doing this one. This is going to be our new own cloud server. Once it actually gets up and operational, we're going to be migrating from our own personal software in the office to a VPS solution for hardened security, easier updates, because right now we're running it off OS X, which has benefits and downsides, but as the software gets newer and newer, there's more downsides than benefits, to be honest. And since the community absolutely will not support Apple's operating system, I have to do it myself, and I'm getting too old for this shit, and I just don't have a lot of support. Alright, hopefully by this point in time, the VPS is rebooted. If not, we're going to find out pretty quickly that, nope, it hasn't yet. We're good. So we're also going to try to reissue this update, and same one as did before, but it had implied that there could also be some other updates, so we're going to do that again and see if they were lying to me or if they just did them on the last update command, which could go either way. Sometimes Linux isn't good about reporting. Oh, there were. Or at least apparently there were. 3 have been held back. Yeah, that happens a lot. No worries. So then we're going to just clean that up and say sudo apt auto remove in case there was any old shit that needs to be deleted, because we like efficiency. Nah, we're good. Okay. So, once again, I already know. So that daemon that we create, or not the daemon, the systemd command that, we have started boots. So this is all, it does a couple of things. It helps for a crash, it replaces the need for a cron job. It's a little bit more encompassing of its reason for existence. So as we can tell, we're going strong here. So in this one, what we are going to do is actually make this one a little bit bigger. We're going to issue the commands down here. So once again, sudo systemctl stop Yerbas, right? You do not want Yerbas running while you're doing these upgrades and changes and all these kind of things. It's based on something I was doing yesterday, and I really should have checked it today. Because I really want to kind of simulate more or less what your experiences will be if you have used my things in the past to get you where you are today. Okay, so if you have followed us in the past, we, at the home directory, obviously I deal with Bitorium, so that's where the BTM stuff goes, and Yerb latest is where you want to go. So those should be the 2 folders that you see right there. We are very quickly just going to jump in and say cd yerb underscore latest ls, and as we see here, we are only now installed 2.1.1.4. I actually have already done this, but we're going to walk through it again just to show you. So this is what you should see. Some of you have it on your home directory, and it might not even be labeled it that way. I label them so that way I know previous versions, because in this instance, you can actually run the 2.1.4 until that block that's listed. So if you do run into any problems, you can actually temporarily fall back to the 2.1.1.4 until a workaround is resolved, you know, because I can't help you with complex problems, and complex problems unfortunately arise. So you can fall back to the old version while we're doing all this. So the first thing we're actually going to want to do is we're going to want to change directory to the hidden folder Yerbas core, because we want to back up some files here. One of the files that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to copy the wallet file .dat. Now, your man in the past has told me PowCache. We're not going to do that today because PowCache is right here. If you have a fully synced up node, you can probably back this one up too. I had issues with that twice, and replacing it with this one fixed it. So that has become my de facto way of dealing with it. I don't even back up PowCache. So we're going to just copy the wallet.dat file, and more importantly, this is what I didn't do yesterday, the yerbas.conf file, and we're going to put it in our home directory. Right? That's what that means. It's the same thing as home/user, which in this case is Kojak. Means the same thing. Right? So if we go cd, which is back in our home directory, and ls, there's our wallet.dat and our yerbas.conf. Right? Super important. And then off screen, I'm going to make sure that is the right one. I'm pretty sure it is, but I also don't want to show you the BLS key, which is something that I did yesterday on stream too. All right, bringing it back, that is correct. Okay. So with the Yerbas daemon stopped, the old one, we're actually now going to trash the hidden folder. The reason that we're doing this is we're actually going to be rebuilding the blockchain. That's what the bootstrap is, and that's what the PowCache is. So we're getting rid of literally everything, and then it's going to be recreated. In doing so, this takes anywhere between 30 to 90 seconds to actually sync with the network once you download all this stuff. Your speed for downloading this stuff, however, will depend on the speed of your VPS connected to the internet. So we're going to recursively remove the hidden folder known as Yerbas core. It's gone. So if we try to change directory into Yerbas core, it's gone, doesn't exist. All right. So we're going to change directory into our yerb_latest. All right. And in this list, since I know that this is x86 architecture, I'm going to go with the Ubuntu 20. If you're doing this on Oracle's Ampere cores, this is the one you want. Raspberry Pi, this is the one you want. Older Raspberry Pis that are 32-bit or other IoT boards or other systems that are ARM and 32, this is the one you're going to want. Unfortunately, I know this has been asked a couple of times why there is no longer Ubuntu 18 support, and I just thought it was because it was a deprecated operating system and it's getting harder and harder to support, but apparently I found out that GitHub isn't really supporting Ubuntu 18, so I haven't verified that, but the person that told me, I trust, so I'm going to go with that. Anyway, we're going to copy the link address for the one that you want, right? And then we are going to wget, then we're going to download it. For me, this doesn't take very long, but it's also not a very big file. ls, mostly because I hate typing that out, not going to lie, and then we're going to tar it. -xvf, I believe is the one. Yep. Verbose is mostly what I want, and then we're going to ls. Now, this is always typically the folder that you're going to get, which will just say yerbas.build, and I have just come up with a standardization regardless of what the architecture is. I used to reference what the architecture was. I don't anymore, so that way I can log into all of my smart nodes, and the paths to these directories are always going to be the same. So we're going to mb the directory, which is move or rename it, and from yerbas-build, we're going to rename it to what it is, Yerbas-version 3.1.1.5. Alright, ls. Hey, what? Oh. How about I spell it right? Yeah, there we go. Now you got the Yerbas 2.1.1.4 and 3.1.1.5. Alright. Now, we're going to remove the tar file, because efficiency is key, and every kilobyte matters. Okay, so now we're going to cd Yerbas version 3.1.1.5, right? ls. Now, I have already done this many times, but if you need to verify your download, here's the checksums text. Once again, all kilobytes matter, so I'm getting rid of it. So now we should just be left with the CLI, the Yerbas D, and the QT. QT isn't going to do us any good here because we're headless. So but we are going to sudo copy or cp the Yerbas -CLI to /usr/bin/Yerbas-CLI. What this is, oh, once again, I can't spell for shit. Okay. If nothing comes up, the command is successful. What we're doing here is when you put things into the user bin folder, you don't need to do the path, or you don't need to, like, you know, do Yerbas-CLI. You can now issue the command without that and from anywhere. So all you have to do to issue it actually is Yerbas-CLI, and it'll come back with, you know, the help, because we're not actually telling it. We didn't pass it a parameter to tell it what to do, but because you're putting it in the user bin file, you don't have to do anything special. So once again, we're also going to sudo copy, because user bin is a protected folder. Sudo cp Yerbas D to user/bin/Yerbas D. Now, I have heard that you don't actually need to do this. You can actually just say /user bin and it'll just drop it there without doing any name changes. Not every Linux distro does that, so I like doing the hard-coded. So this should work for every Linux distro across the world. It should mean that we're putting the file in there and we are implicitly naming it Yerbas D. All right. Now, what we're doing here is I use the systemd command Yerbas to deal with these, and they are always kept in the same place. So by updating it, we have now effectively updated our systemd service, and we don't have to reload it, recompile it, redo anything to it. It should automatically work. What we do need to do, however, is we need to make a dir that we deleted and call it Yerbas core. And we need to put it back in the same place. So the tilde / or home / Kojak, because that's the name of the user on this machine, Yerbas D, or Yerbas core, right? And if we cd, that should take us to the same exact location. All right, and then it just truncates it here. Right. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to copy wallet.dat, and actually we're going to do this a little bit differently. So we're going to cd, right, and we're going to cp wallet.dat and yerbas.conf, and we're going to put it into the Yerbas core folder. So now if we change directories here, they should be there. While we're also here, I'm going to do something interesting. So we are going to nano a file called debug.log, Control O for saving it, and Control X, so then that way it's listing. You could also touch the file, but I just prefer to do it that way. Do it however you want. The reason here is that when we are going to reissue this command, which by the way we should have actually exited out of, so now when we tail this folder, it'll actually do something. Like right now it's not doing anything, but that's because it is showing you what is actually in the debug folder, right? Or that file, which right now is nothing. Right? So we're here, so if we look at this, there's only 3 files here. We need more files. The first thing that we need is the bootstrap. So we are going to copy link address, and we're going to wget it. This could take some time depending on your download or your connection to the internet from your VPS. This is a 250 meg file, so yay. And we're going to unzip it. So if you don't have unzip installed on your machine, do that first. So, you know, sudo apt install unzip. I just assume that we always have it installed, and that's actually a really bad practice because not everybody does. Clearly, it's installed on this one, but if you don't have unzip installed, all it is sudo apt install unzip. Or if you're doing the other one, which I forget the other way to install on, like CentOS, it's like SAM or anyway. You're gonna want that program to do the unzip because we're dealing with a zip file and not a tar file. So we're gonna unzip the bootstrap .zip file. And herein lies the interesting bit. Once this finishes, I'll show you what I mean. This is actually pretty quick considering that this is a 250 meg zip file. It's pretty damn fast. So the problem is that when you unzip the boot file or bootstrap, it puts it in a folder called bootstrap. That's not what we want. So we're going to cd bootstrap, puts us inside the file. Okay. And then we are just going to move the blocks folder, the chain state folder, the evo.db folder, and the llmq folder to, you guessed it, Yerbas core, the hidden folder. And if we look in here, they're all gone. So if we cd space ... go back one and do the ls, there they all are. Alright, so for the time being, I'm going to leave the actual zip file, but we're going to get rid of the bootstrap folder. So rm recursively bootstrap, and that should get rid of the folder. The zip file should still be there. Alright, at this point in time, if we have done our job, if we simply say sudo system ctl start Yerbas, voila. If you are seeing this, you are in the gold, meaning that it is actually starting up, and it's kind of like installing fresh, so it's going to be propagating all the files and folders that we got rid of that were here, right? Completely redoing this. Now, in the future, some of these, like the assets folder and the my restricted folder and the rewards folder, are going to be important. So in the future, and maybe even the messages, I forget what that one does off the top of my head. In the future, we're definitely going to have to back those up, but they're not technically being used right now. They are future, and that's at that block 229,420 when the assets are going to be started utilized. So that is how you update, air quotes, on easy mode. It has been asked the procedure for creating the system service, and I still have not figured out a really good way to show that, because it's not super easy. It's not something that you can just like drag and drop, unfortunately. But I will try to explain it. Alright, let's see if it'll open it. Okay, so on this screen here, this is what it actually is. And this isn't mine, by the way. This was given to me by somebody, and I actually modified it. This was originally given to me by Big M-Dog over at Bitorium. And it was originally for Bitorium, but since Yerbas and Bitorium effectively run the same, I will kind of explain it as the best way that I can. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is issue this sudo nano etc system dsystem yerbas.service, which effectively creates the service, or at least creates the text for the service. Then all of this down here gets copied and pasted. Basically, this doesn't mean shit. This is just to tell you what it is. The Yerbas Smartnode system D service, always alive. Unit description describes what it is. After, network.target. Service tells you what it's doing. Type forking. User. This is the username, whatever it is, for the system. I do not do root. The reason is that if you do this at root, it will do it for every user, meaning every user you install will try to launch the Yerbas D domain, and that's not always what you want. So install this on a per user basis when you're using this script, which also means you're going to have to, if you're doing this for multiple users, you'll have to call it like Yerbas 01, 02, 03, whatever. It's going to have to be different, because if you create the same yerbas.service, you're just going to be overwriting the one file, and this is a per user. If you have one user, no worries. But then you basically just go in here and you swap out the username for with whatever. Keep that, that's going to be the same. Here's where it gets interesting. So when you executively start, and this is the reason why I don't have to keep changing the service, it's always referencing the Yerbas D at user.bin. So all we had to do was update it while it was off, and it'll automatically, I don't have to recompile or reload the daemon, which is what this does down here. I don't have to do this. So once you issue this the first time while everything is turned off, you echo this, which adds the line PID equals /run /Yerbas PID, and it adds this into the user conf, right? You could just add this to the bottom, the quote and all that kind of stuff. It'll just add that to the bottom of the file and you'll be good too. Once you're there, sudo system ctl daemon reload, sudo systeml enable Yerbas. This has to match what's before the .service, right? So if it's Yerbas 01, this would be Yerbas 01, right? And then that's also true for this as well. And you will start, stop, restart Yerbas 1. As long as it matches what's here before the .service, you are good. I am going to eventually put this in to the description of this video. But if you're having issues with this, just don't do this. Get a hold of me directly and I will help you walk through this. It's not as straightforward as one might like, but it wasn't. It was designed for something else, and I've just kind of retrofitted it into my purpose. I did not come up with this script. This is not mine. I do not claim ownership over it whatsoever. So yeah, that is the Yerbas service, and that's why this is on easy mode, because it's just easier to start and stop the daemons. And as you see here, I think we're actually fully loaded. Now, as I said, you can't start and stop with the Yerbas D and Yerbas CLI, but what you can do is you can issue Yerbas-CLI and get block count, and it'll show you what block you're at. And I'm pretty sure that is the current block, so I think we're actually pretty good to go. So it's not like I broke these commands, I just broke one function of them. So you can't start and stop the Yerbas daemon, because if I do it right now, you're going to get errors because it's going to try to start it again, and yeah, that's no fun. So once again, in summation, assets and NFTs are coming. April 1st is effectively, I think we're going to hit that block. It'll be a fun little joke, April Fool's Day, for those that you don't know. Please spread out the hash rate. This is the Salata Furca update, and IPv6 is also going to happen at this block as well. So basically, NFTs, IPv6 support for Smartnodes. This is a mandatory update. You do have to have it before this block. If you don't, your main wallet and your Smartnode wallets are all going to be booty. On that regard, I do kind of want to show you the interface, although some of it's technically broken right now. Yeah, I know. Ignore my messy desktop. Oh yeah, move this off screen. Here is the new interface for the wallet. Now this is my Smartnode wallet, and something's still mining to it, and I have no idea what. This is just a sign where you have too many small miners doing things. So the send and receive, I mean, overall it's got a great visual update. Ignore the flickers, it's just because I'm VNC in, and VNC server is not great on Ubuntu or on Mint Linux, which sucks, but it is what it is. The send has been updated. Always remember in your options to enable coin control and show smart nodes. These are not enabled by default. Do these. You will have to reboot your wallet, but tough titty. Inputs is where you will unlock and see your locked collateral. I only have 3 of my 6 nodes, right? Because this is, that happened recently and I was involved in the testnet. I just haven't had time to really deal with all this and move everything back over. Here's your transactions. I think it's a little bit cleaner, personally. Here's your smart nodes, and clearly you can see everybody's, or just your own relative to your wallet. I also like to do this from time to time to see how many of you bastards are still pause banned. So, oh, there's much less. I think it was like 130 yesterday, so it's dropped down to 105. And I think there are almost no unknowns left. Oh no, there is one. This probably means your collateral's bad. Yeah, collateral, 10,000. You're a wee bit behind the cue ball there. Whoever you are, 749129 update your collateral. It's 28,000. You're like 2 behind, I think. You're 1 behind. Anyway, I like to come here and yell at the screen when I can't yell at people because it's cathartic. I don't know, maybe it's just my own personal therapy yelling at something that can't yell back. But anyway, once the block has been reached where assets become available, see it says assets not yet active because we haven't reached that block. They're not grayed out, but you can't click on them. They won't do shit. After April 1st, these should have access into them. I know what they look like, but that's because I played around on the testnet. Unfortunately, I fucked up my testnet wallet, so I can't show you this. Maybe in the future I can get that back because apparently the testnet is still running. There's like me and a couple other people that are still having nodes run on the testnet because we tested the IPv6 functionality and the asset functionality, and it was kind of fun. It was a fun little project. Sad to see it stop, but you know, testnets don't last forever. One of my friends is a test Yerbas whale. I think he has over 1 million now or something because he had like 32 IPv6 nodes running from one smart node because he's in another country, we'll just say, and they hand out IPv6 like chiclets. So he got like a shit ton of IPv6 so he didn't have to pay for. Lucky fucker. So he was running like 32 smart nodes per VPS. It was insane. I don't know if that's actually going to be real world practice because the bigger the actual wallet is, you know, we were dealing with effectively a beginning chain. Everything was small, but when the chain's much bigger like this, I don't know how effective that will be on a per VPS basis because space is a function. Although it's not very big. I don't remember this Yerbas core folder being that big. And I forget the Linux command off the top of my head to say how big the folder is, but, you know, and right now it would have the full chain. But, you know, you replicate this 10, 20, 30 times, and then that actually does eat into your VPS storage, because storage is not free on any VPS. You have a finite amount. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that fun little thing. Oh, right. The Windows. So what's been happening on the Windows one, I can't show you because I don't have a Windows machine with me that will adequately show the problem, but there have been problems coming up on Discord that when you update the wallet, because you basically have to do the same thing, trash your Yerbas core folder, back up your wallet, your conf, and your POW cache if that's what you want to do. Like I said, you don't have to because you can download the POW cache from the repository, it's good. But when you reinstall the Qt wallet, you will have to not do it by double clicking it. You go into CMD. So imagine this is command line CMD. So it'll be like, you know, C:\prompt, whatever. You're going to drop in and it'll probably look like path to, I'm probably doing it backwards. Yeah, I think I am. Because I think Windows does it this way. Path to Yerbas -qt, you know, and like that, and then re-index. If you're having issues where you'll get this error 443, first of all, make sure that everything's in the proper structure. So in your Qt, you should have one folder in that same file with your Qt, and it should be your core file. On Windows, you can name it whatever you want, and as long as you point the software to it, it'll recognize all the folders in there. So when you expand out your Bootstrap, redo it the way that it's supposed to be, and then put your wallet and your comp file back in. The first time you boot the Qt, you're going to have to re-index it if you're getting that error 443. Once you do that, you know, and hit enter, clearly this isn't going to do shit on mine because it's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's also, I forget, we're talking Windows, so it's not just Qt, it's qt.exe. Exe, right? this isn't going to be exactly that. If you just drop the Qt folder, it'll actually resolve this. So you just drop it in here, it'll have the right quotes, and then you just follow it up with a reindex. It'll tell the software to reindex, and then that should solve that error problem. This is a known problem, and I think it's because this update is so massive. I don't know if there's going to be a better solution for it. That is the solution that we have seen, and it has worked for many, many people. Shout out to Nando. I read your shit. You may not like me. You may not respond to me. Always. You may find me annoying as hell. And you, sir, are very okay to do all of those things. But I pay attention. I pay attention and I learn. I'm not just a smartass to be a smartass. I'm both a smartass and I like to learn things. So thank you for this. This is, once again, not my solution. That was his, theirs, whatever. They gave it to me. It works. It has worked for a lot of people. If you're having problems on the Windows wallet, the actual visual wallet, that's what you're going to wind up needing, is just drop in the qt.exe file into command and reindex. I don't remember if you have to actually launch command as an administrator. I don't think you do, because they think this is just launching an application and reindexing the block structure. But if you have any issues with that, go ahead and hit me up on this video in the description below, and I'll help you to the best of my ability. Although the better way would be to go over to Discord. You can normally get an answer there like that. Anyway, folks, thank you so very much for sticking way to the end. I know it was a little bit longer than I wanted to be today, but you know, we didn't F up too badly. Actually, I don't think we F'd up at all outside of a couple of spelling errors. It's not like I destroyed the whole comp file accidentally. Anyway, y'all have a good one. You need insurance, always hit me up. Next video will be on 15th of next week. We're doing a Medicare 101 summary. I know, not tech related. Boo. But I am an insurance agent. I'm the OnlyFans insurance agent. My name's been None Your Business. This is great hosting with y'all, and I will see y'all next time. Peace and love.